The psychology of almost relationships. Have you ever grieved someone you never officially dated? No anniversary, no breakup, no label. Just unanswered messages, mixed signals, and endless what-ifs. It's strange, isn't it? Because somehow, the relationships that never truly began often leave the deepest scars. You don't miss what you had. You miss what could have been. Tonight, we're diving into the psychology of almost relationships, why they feel impossible to move on from, why your brain keeps replaying every conversation, and why letting go of someone who was never really yours can hurt more than losing someone who actually was. Because sometimes the hardest heartbreak isn't losing love. It's losing possibility. An almost relationship doesn't end with a dramatic goodbye. It fades. The text becomes shorter. The plans never happen. The affection becomes confusing. Eventually, you're left wondering whether any of it was real. Maybe you met someone who seemed perfect. You laughed effortlessly. The chemistry felt undeniable. You imagined introducing them to your friends. You pictured holidays together. You started building a future in your mind, long before one existed in reality. Then suddenly, they pulled away. No explanation. No closure. Just silence. And somehow, months later, they're still living rent-free in your mind. Why? Psychology has a fascinating answer. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't only fall in love with people. It falls in love with possibilities. The moment someone gives us attention, affection, and just enough hope, our imagination gets to work. We begin filling in the blanks. They're probably looking for something serious. They're just busy. They're scared of commitment. They'll come back. Notice something. Most of the relationship exists inside your imagination. Psychologists call this projection. When information is missing, our minds naturally complete the story. And almost relationships are filled with missing pieces. The less certainty we have, the more our imagination takes over. Ironically, you aren't only attached to the person. You're attached to the version of them your mind created. Think about your favorite TV show. Imagine stopping halfway through the season. No ending. No explanation. Would you keep thinking about it? Probably. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik Effect. Our brains remember unfinished experiences more intensely than completed ones. An almost relationship is the ultimate unfinished story. You never received a real ending. No final conversation. No clear rejection. No satisfying explanation. Just questions. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Did they ever like me? Could things have been different? Because your brain hates uncertainty, it keeps searching for answers that may never come. And every time you replay old conversations, you're feeding that cycle. Here's where things become even more interesting. Almost relationships often operate on something called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same psychological principle that makes gambling addictive. Think about it. One day they text constantly. The next day they disappear. Then they come back. Then they vanish again. Sometimes they're affectionate. Sometimes they're distant. Because the rewards are unpredictable, your brain starts craving them even more. Every notification feels exciting. Every reply feels like proof that maybe this time things are changing. Your brain begins chasing emotional highs instead of emotional security. It isn't healthy love. It's unpredictable reward. And unpredictable rewards create some of the strongest attachments humans experience. When someone chooses not to continue a relationship, our brains often interpret it as something much bigger. Not, they weren't the right person. Instead, I'm not enough. That's because rejection activates many of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. Your mind begins searching for reasons. Maybe I wasn't attractive enough. Maybe I talked too much. Maybe I wasn't successful enough. But here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't always leave because something is wrong with you. Sometimes timing is wrong. Sometimes emotional availability is different. Sometimes compatibility simply isn't there. Unfortunately, our brains prefer self-blame over uncertainty. Because if it's our fault, it feels like something we can fix. Here's a question. What arguments did you ever have with this person? Maybe none. What major incompatibilities did you experience? Probably very few. Because the relationship never lasted long enough. Almost relationships remain frozen in perfection. There were no years of conflict. No financial stress. No difficult conversations. No ordinary routines. Your memory protects the fantasy. Reality never had the chance to interrupt it. And that's why people often compare future partners to someone they barely dated. Not because that person was perfect, but because reality never exposed their imperfections. Many people believe they just need one conversation, one explanation, one final message. Then they'll move on. Sometimes that's true. Often, it isn't. Because closure isn't something another person gives you. It's something you eventually create yourself. Even if they explained everything perfectly, your heart might still disagree. Healing begins when you stop asking, why didn't they choose me? And start asking, what am I choosing for myself now? That shift changes everything. As painful as they are, almost relationships reveal important truths. They expose our attachment styles. They reveal our fears. They show us how quickly we confuse chemistry with compatibility, how easily attention becomes affection, how hope becomes expectation, and perhaps most importantly, they teach us that consistency is one of the greatest forms of love. Not grand gestures, not endless chemistry, not late-night conversations. Consistency. Someone who genuinely wants to be in your life rarely leaves you constantly guessing. Love shouldn't require detective work. If you're always decoding texts, analyzing replies, wondering where you stand, you're probably investing more energy into uncertainty than into love. Imagine two people standing at opposite sides of a train station. One keeps checking the schedule, waiting, believing another train will eventually arrive. Hours pass. The platform becomes empty. The station lights begin turning off. Still, they stay. Not because another train is coming, but because leaving means accepting it isn't. That's what almost relationships feel like. We don't stay because reality gives us hope. We stay because hope refuses to accept reality. Eventually, healing begins the moment you walk away from the platform. Not because the train arrived, but because you finally realized your life couldn't stay parked there forever. Maybe this person wasn't your soulmate. Maybe they were your teacher. Someone who showed you what inconsistency feels like. Someone who revealed wounds you didn't know still existed. Someone who reminded you that being chosen should never feel confusing. The right relationship won't force you to constantly wonder whether you're enough. It won't survive on mixed signals. It won't require endless guessing. Because healthy love isn't built on possibility. It's built on presence. Real love doesn't leave you questioning where you stand. It gives you somewhere safe to stand. If you've been holding on to an almost relationship, maybe today isn't about forgetting them. Maybe it's about forgiving yourself for believing in something that never had the chance to become real. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop mourning the future you imagined and start creating the future that's still waiting for you. So before you leave, ask yourself this. Are you missing the person, or are you missing the story you hoped they would become? If this video made you see your own experiences differently, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for another episode of The Hard Truth, where we uncover the psychology behind love, attachment, and the emotions that shape our lives. Until next time, take care of your heart.